This is a Storm Team 12 weather alert.
Storm Team 12 weather focus. Guys, a lot to go over today.
We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the severe weather setup this evening. That's really what this show's all about, a chance to educate you on severe storms. And, of course, that setup is out there today, and we're still very much at the beginning of what will probably be several hours of active weather tonight.
And, you know, it's the first big setup that we've had so far this severe weather season. So I know a lot of people are nervous out there, but we're using this show as an opportunity to tell you it's okay. Sure. We're going to walk you through the steps on how to stay safe.
And the science behind why we think tonight has potential of hail, high winds, a tornado or two. So stay with us, especially if you're interested in weather, Kansas weather, you just want to know what's going on tonight. We've got you covered. But let's get to the new tornado watch that just came down about 30 minutes ago, and it's only for just a few counties in south central Kansas. So take a look. Wichita is not included, but this stretches from Harper and Anthony, goes over toward Elk and Chautauqua counties until midnight. Now, we do anticipate for north central Kansas, a severe thunderstorm watch will probably be coming in the next couple of hours, and an additional tornado watch not entirely out of the question for other areas of south central Kansas, but for now it's areas south of Wichita. But remember, even though you're not technically in the watch, if you're close to it, that does mean that you should remain on guard. North central Kansas, we have a couple of showers showing up in between Osborne and Stockton. No large hail here, probably no lightning as it looks now. That's crossing Highway 24 as it moves on to the north and east. One little cell that's got our attention down here in western Oklahoma. It's kind of in between Hennessy, Oklahoma and Fairview, just southwest of Enid. So again, we're talking western Oklahoma here, not Kansas, but that storm is moving northeast and it's showing a little bit of sign of intensity. So we'll see if that continues to overperform as we go through the next 30 to 45 minutes. Right now, again, a shower, maybe a little bit of lightning there. We're still with the level 3 on our severe weather scale across central and eastern Kansas. What does that mean? It means there's a pretty good chance that we're going to have some hail-producing storms this evening, some high winds. Again, not an outbreak of tornadoes, but at least one or two remain possible through the evening. There's a lot of shifting winds happening above us, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show, the reason why we think this chance of tornadoes certainly does exist this evening. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow, we can let our guard down when it comes to severe storms. We're not going to see anything like that on Wednesday. We're still going to have some wind tomorrow. 56 degrees, kind of cool to get things started on a Wednesday. We go back up close to 70 for a high, a little more sunshine tomorrow, and good news for most of you, well, it's not going to be nearly as windy. But look at the wind gusts right now. We're up around 30 to 35 miles an hour. Western Kansas will see the wind go down tonight, and then glancing ahead to first thing tomorrow morning, our wind gusts are 25 to 35 miles an hour, and they're shifting direction. There's a cold front coming, so we expect that we will have a slightly different wind direction coming up tomorrow as the front comes on through. As far as the temperature change is concerned, we had 70s today. It's 60s tomorrow, and then it may actually get even cooler later this week with thicker clouds and another opportunity for some rain coming up. You'll see Thursday we've got 50s in the north and lower 60s to the south. So, yes, for early April, those numbers are actually dropping below average as we move later on into the week. Brock, we'll send it over to you.
All right, now we're going to... Sorry, Ross, you were gonna do that. We're gonna take a look at Rodney's back out on the roads here, I believe. Is Rodney ready here? If not, we're going to yeah, we will go to Rodney here. He's out traveling through Wichita, headed south, closer to where some of those stronger storms are expected.
We're currently making our way south on the actually, we're heading towards the Kansas Turnpike. We're right now on the canal route, right along, just passing Harry Street right now on I-135 going southward. Plentiful cloud cover here at our location, very gusty winds as we continue to make our way southward. We're heading down towards where the tornado watch is currently in effect, again, for the southern counties there just south of the metro area. And as Ross mentioned, we're watching that one storm in particular that is right now to the southwest of Enid. It's kind of on a track that would take it into southern Kansas over the next hour or two. So that'll be something we'll continue to watch and see if it intensifies. Right now, again, we're rain-free here at our location. We're coming up on Pawnee, making our way southward on very soon on the Kansas Turnpike. Brock?
Rodney, thanks. Stay safe out there. We could also get some large hail over parts of Kansas tonight as part of this severe weather. Storm Team 12 meteorologist Jake Dunn takes a look at how often we see large hail events.
And of course, severe weather in the forecast later today, and we're heading into the peak season. Over the past few decades, though, large hail events are increasing. Now, they can happen during any month, but the highest chances of those large hail events, April, May, and June, and they're most likely between 3 and 8 p.m. But there's always exception to the rule. In fact, September 15th, 2010, largest hailstone ever now beat the Coffeyville record, and this happened in West Wichita. You can see that's the dent it made as it hit the ground. Bigger than a CD for those of you who remember CDs, and way bigger than a penny. So that storm produced again that large hailstone near Pawnee and 119th Street West, southwest Wichita, almost 8 inches in diameter and weighed over 1 pound.
You made a joke there, that CD there.
What is that thing?
Typically see those that often. That is a big divot made by a hailstone. And we see hail when the severe level threat gets to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
You're going to walk us through a little bit of
we want to remind everybody, we throw around these different levels, but at the end of the day, do we really know what they mean? So here's a little bit of a breakdown of each level. Today, into the nighttime hours for central and eastern Kansas, we have a large Level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk zone. So here's a breakdown of those different levels. Level 1 in green, that's our marginal. Usually storms are very isolated, short-lived. You need to be weather alert and keep an eye to the sky. Basically same thing for level 2, the slight risk. A few thunderstorms likely, very spotty in nature, and overall on the shorter end of the scale for short-lived, but still need to keep an eye to the sky. And then we continue looking at the level 3, and that's when they start becoming even more numerous. And that's where we could have some intense thunderstorms, kind of like what we have today. And that's why we're stressing you need to know where you're going to shelter, as these thunderstorms could really pack a punch. But anything higher than that, level 4 and 5, definitely need to stay close to the shelter, as we're talking intense thunderstorms that could lead to a possible outbreak. So tomorrow, it is a level 4 out of 5 severe weather risk zone from Memphis all the way up towards Nashville and southern parts of Indiana. 80-mile-an-hour winds, baseball-sized hail, and tornadoes likely. This is the same system that's impacted. Have our free Storm Team 12 weather app. It's a great tool to have, like having a meteorologist in your back pocket. It tracks your location, but also very important on a day like today, with the threat of severe weather overnight, this app can alert you should a severe warning or tornado warning be issued for your location. Ross?
All right, thanks very much, Adrian. Let's look at western Kansas coming up tomorrow. There may be a few rain showers in the northwest, but it's not likely to add up to very much. Most of that would be in the morning, with a dry weather setup coming up as we go into the afternoon. 57 Goodland will go mid-60s for southwest Kansas, 62 in Hayes. And yes, there is still wind coming up tomorrow, but it won't be as bad as it was today. Gusts will be 25 to 35 miles an hour for Wednesday afternoon. How about central Kansas? Departing early morning storms east of the Flint Hills, and then we're basically back into a sun-cloud mix for the afternoon. West winds gusting 25 to maybe 35 on the way tomorrow. 67 in Salina, but we'll see low 70s. Medicine Lodge, Winfield 70 degrees in Eureka. And look at Wichita. Tomorrow we start with a few clouds in the morning. There'll be some returning in the afternoon. No chance of any rain tomorrow, though. Looking at a west wind, 10 to 25 and gusty. We should get to 70 in Wichita, 68 for Hutch, 72 degrees in Wellington, and 68 on the way for Kingman. Just a reminder about the tornado watch again for south central Kansas. Wichita, Hutchinson not included. This goes until midnight, and we are starting to see that thunderstorm down in northern Oklahoma begin to intensify just a bit, and it is tracking northeast, likely to impact some areas south and east of Wichita in the coming hours. So things are just at the very beginning stages of getting active. There'll be several more hours coming up later on tonight that we'll be watching the radar.
And as it gets darker outside, of course, the threat of those storms makes them a little more dangerous.
Right, exactly so. And the threat may actually increase after dark, and we're going to explain why coming up here shortly.
And that's why we're stressing, make sure you have our free Storm Team 12 weather app.
Right.
With all the talk of severe weather, it has us thinking about our weather quiz question of the day. And today, it's a good one. Which of the following does not make it storm severe? We'll look at your possible answers. That coming up here in a few.
You're watching Storm Team 12 Weather Focus on KSCW. Download the Storm Team 12 app on your Apple and Android device.
Welcome back to Weather Focus on the KSCW. Ross, we've got a storm intensifying down in Oklahoma, starting to gain some steam, showing some lightning now. What's that looking like?
Yeah, it's moving northeast, and this is an area that we thought there would probably be a storm or two, but this is also an environment where the shift in wind is a little bit greater, and we also have more humidity in this part of Oklahoma. And if you notice that track that would bring it up into Enid here shortly, if that continues to expand onto the north and east, there is a reasonable concern that it might eventually be something that could impact parts of south central Kansas. So if we expand the view and bring Wichita into view right up here at the top part of your screen, again, you're looking at something that's incredibly small right now, but if that continues to go northeast, it would keep it southeast of Wichita, but heads up across portions of Cowley, Elk, and Chautauqua counties. We're still likely at least an hour or two away from that becoming a factor, but it is something that is developing, and most of our short-term computer models have suggested that that might actually turn out to be something more than it is now. Meanwhile, farther north, up in north central Kansas, we've got some scattered rain showers happening, nothing severe there, and a couple of chasers that are showing up on our map right now. Of course, we'll be checking in with them as we get updated information right now. Of course, in and around Wichita, we really don't have that much going on. And we also have Nate, who's up here around Salina, keeping an eye on things there. Biggest concern tonight is going to be some very large hail, especially with storms up at central and northern Kansas. But again, the tornado threat does continue for several more hours. Let's get to the quiz question again today.
And we want to remind everybody, which of the following does not make a storm severe? Think about it. We'll have your answer coming up here in a few.
You're watching Storm Team 12 Weather Focus on KSCW.
All right, welcome back into Storm Team 12 Weather Focus. Something a little bit different this evening with the ongoing severe weather threat this evening. Want to showcase what we're keeping an eye on in the Storm Center. And if you've been outside this afternoon, you notice the air's a little bit dry and cool for a severe weather episode, but something we've been monitoring throughout the day is the higher humidity coming up from the Gulf. And notice those darker shades of green south of Wichita. That's some very rich humidity that's just now starting to make its way up through Oklahoma and poking into south central Kansas. This is 7 o'clock tonight, but notice what happens as we go later into the evening. Those darker shades of green continue to ramp up. Those are the dew point temperatures. It's a measure of how much moisture is in the air, and when the numbers get above 60, now we're starting to move into an adequate supply of humidity to fuel thunderstorms. So that's where we're headed later on tonight. So higher humidity coming in later tonight will likely mean a better chance of thunderstorms as the evening wears on. We're also keeping an eye on the upper level winds coming in from the southwest at about 60 to 80 miles per hour. But in this case, the wind direction is key because 18,000 feet off the ground, the wind is from the southwest. But when we come down to near the ground, the wind is actually coming up from the southeast. So that creates this spin that's happening, and when thunderstorms develop, that horizontal spin will stand in the vertical, which is why we think the tornado potential is a little bit elevated coming up this evening. We do have meteorologist Rodney Price out there monitoring things. He was leaving Wichita. Rodney, which direction are you headed, and what have you been able to see?
Ross, we are currently traveling south on the Kansas Turnpike. We just crossed over into Sumner County here just a couple of minutes ago, putting us in that tornado watch. And we are keeping a very close eye on developments there to our south. Right now, we can't see any of those thunderstorm clouds from our vantage point, but we know that that thunderstorm is there just southwest of Enid, and it is on a track to the north and east. So our thinking right now is we'll probably make our way down to somewhere in that area of the Turnpike and U.S. Highway 166, maybe a little bit farther south of there. But this storm will kind of meet us in the middle, if you will. So we'll be traveling southward to watch as that storm moves north and east and see if we can see anything, if it continues to develop. Again, that storm right now, right in the vicinity of Enid and moving northeast. Again, a tornado watch that continues for far southern Kansas, just south of Wichita. That's in effect until midnight tonight. So the atmosphere, as you mentioned, becoming a little bit more prime as we go through the next several hours. Ross?
All right, thanks very much, Rodney. We're going to send it over to Adrian, who's tracking a late week system that'll bring some rain.
And Ross, thankfully, we're very excited about the late week system drying out tomorrow, but Thursday and Friday looking to be scattered and even fairly widespread. So diving right into future track, Thursday morning, we'll have some scattered showers, no thunderstorms expected or severe weather. So that's the good news. A quick hitting system, some rainfall likely in the Goodland area. And then as we get into Thursday evening and night, I think we'll have a dry period, but then a second system will start developing over in the Texas Panhandle. This one looking to be a much bigger system. It's also bringing some cooler weather with it. So by Friday, highs dropping into the 40s and 50s across the Sunflower State. Then here we go. very slow-moving system, so scattered showers returning into Friday afternoon, becoming widespread Friday night for far western Kansas. But this time around, enough cold air being generated by this storm system along with stronger northerly winds where we could have a wintry weather component with it. And it's not impossible that Saturday night into early Sunday morning, the pink and blue can't completely rule out a few snowflakes even here in central Kansas. So bottom line is it's still looking very active, but no threat of severe weather this upcoming weekend. A good soaking rain likely. The heaviest will stay off to our south and southeast where 48 inches of rain likely in Arkansas. But even here in Kansas, some of this will be rain and snowfall, especially out west. But generally, we're expecting over half an inch to maybe some areas seeing over an inch of rain, especially in far eastern Kansas. So over the next few days, make sure you have our free Storm Team 12 weather app, as it's looking pretty active out there, and next week looking much calmer all across the state. So I want to remind everybody our weather quiz question of the day: which of the following does not make a storm severe? If you guess C, lightning, that was the correct answer. Stick around, we have more coming up after the break.
And a severe thunderstorm warning just came out for that storm that's now moving through the Enid area. It's moving northeast, and we think this could be a potential impact for areas south and east of Wichita. We'll be tracking that coming up on 12 News at 6. Really quick, want to check other areas of Kansas. We've got wet weather for Salina Thursday, Friday into Saturday. Cool weather, too. Now, western Kansas could be in the running for a rain-snow mix Saturday. Doesn't look like it's going to be serious snowfall, but we'll see how that progresses as the week continues. In the northwest Kansas, we will likely see some wet weather Friday, a rain-snow mix on the way for Saturday. That'll do it for Storm Team 12 Weather Focus. Be sure to tune in, 12 News at 6.